What is up, guys? It is Nick, and we are back to break down the Sydney Tennis Classic. Sorry for the little bit of the audio issues in the last video. They should be all fixed now. But yes, the Sydney Tennis Classic, the WTA 500 event featuring Ash Barty. First matches for Krejcikova and Mugaruza. 7 of the world's top 10 players are here. So let's get into qualifying to start out with. So we have Haddad Maia and Silva Fick, the 2 seeded players in this top quarter. We have a couple of doubles superstars playing in the qualifying here, so that should be interesting as well. And then a lot of Australians. So I have Haddad Maia coming out of here. Like I said in the last one, it's not my favorite. I think I'm going to take Gabriela Dabrowski to upset De Silva Fick here, but Haddad Maia does get out of the qualifying. Moving on to Anna Karolina Schmiedlova as the 2 seed. Heisen as the 11 seed. I don't know much about these 3, but I think Anna Karolina Schmiedlova should make her way out. We have Osborne and Haidt against Fiona Ferro and Elena Gabriela Ruse. I think Ruse should make it out. Not a huge fan of Ferro anymore. Used to think she should be better than she is. I don't know. Starting to fade on that. Ocean Dodan and Magdala Frech are your 2 seeded players here. I'd like Magdala Frech to get out of it. Interesting here, Ina Shibehara, the number 5 ranked double player in the world, is actually seeded in this qualies. She doesn't play a lot. I looked it up. She doesn't make it out of the qualies usually, but she does play a few quali single matches every year. She's ranked, I believe, 588 in singles. I'm not a huge fan of Claire Liu, so I do give Shibehara a chance to get out of here just for entertainment purposes and lending to see Shibehara play some more singles. I will have Shibehara advance out over Claire Liu just for fun. And then Udvardy I have coming out of this bottom one, though I do like Olmos. I think she'll give her a good match more than Perry will. This Udvardy Olmos is probably the best round 1 of qualifying match, I would say, and I will try to tune in to watch that. Moving on to the actual bracket, we've got Ash Barty making her second bye. She gets the bye at the WTA 500 event again. She's playing the finals tonight against Rubachina, so that should be interesting, but Barty will get the bye, so she'll have plenty of time. She should be good to go. So she gets the bye. We won't have to go after that. Priscilla Hun, who had the upset over Kvitova in this section of the draw, but Priscilla Hun against Jacqueline Christian. 2 kind of young, interesting players there, but I think Christian gets the win. Pegula, who got upset in her first match, was not pretty. I watched that one. It was brutal against Irina Camelia Begu. And what made it even worse is if we go to Begu here. Okay, Begu didn't even play good against Paulini, who she probably has about an even match, so that's fine. But then she played bad against Anisimova in that match. That was one of the matches, Anisimova. So there were a couple of matches here. So Alison van Uytvanck, she looked terrible, and Camilla Begu, there were 2 matches where it was weird. She had a bad match, she was on. Had a bad match, she was on. It's kind of reversed, so who knows if Anisimova can close it out tonight. But that was it wasn't even one of the matches where Anisimova looked particularly good against Irina Camelia Begu. It was just kind of weird. Begu played fine, but it was a weird match. Pegula looked terrible. Literally world's worst in that match. But I think Pegula gets past Caroline Garcia. Still a fan of Caroline Garcia going forward in terms of like returning to some sort of decent form, but just not a great round 1 matchup for her against Jessie Pegula. Moving on, Iga Swiatek against Emma Raducanu. I said it during Raducanu. I know I look dumb, but I still don't think. I think Raducanu's finals run for the U.S. Open is kind of fraudulent. I mean, I'll go back and look at it. I'm probably on an island here, but is it gonna let me show you? Emma Raducanu, there it is. And I think she'll be fine eventually. I mean, she's really, really, really young, but her run at the U.S. Open is a bit fraudulent. Okay, we beat... Qualifying is fine. We're not going to go over that. Stephanie Voeg, who cares? Shuai Zhang, Who really cares? Sarah Sorribes Tormo. I mean, I understand she blew these people out, but Shelby Rogers came off her match where she beat Ash Barty. Okay, clear letdown. I thought Raducanu would beat Shelby Rogers. The Bencic match, I believe, let me look at these real quick. I don't want to spend too much time on Emma Raducanu, but U.S. Open, Bencic came off of that ridiculous match against Iga Swiatek that took 2 hours. They played that, it was a 2-hour, 2-set match against Iga Swiatek because they played it to 12 points in the first set tiebreaker. That was a clear spot where Bencic was just tired. And Raducanu got the best of her. And Bencic didn't even play bad. She had her chances to actually not have that be a straight set loss, but that was just a clear spot for her. And then Sakkari had just come off of her match against Pliskova, but before that was the match against Bianca Andreescu. There was a 3.5-hour match where Bianca Andreescu just ran out of energy. Bianca Andreescu should have beat Sakkari. I don't think there's any question about Bianca Andreescu should have beat Sakkari, but Andreescu just didn't have anything left in that final third set. She gave it all to try to win this set, the second set to win 2-0. She got exhausted, and she just didn't have anything left to beat Sakkari. Then Sakkari played the 1.5-hour long match against Karolina Pliskova. She just caught players in great spots. It's nothing against her, really. It's just that she caught all these people. And then Layla Fernandez. She caught Layla Fernandez real quick after Fernandez had played. Look at all the court time that Layla Fernandez had to play. It was ridiculous. She entered it with like twice as much time played on court as Emma Raducanu. And she was just exhausted by the second set. That 6-3 loss, she was just tired. And so that's just what happened there. It's nothing against Emma Raducanu. I just don't think she's the 19th ranked player in the world. Good. So Iga Swiatek gets the win there. Anett Kontaveit against Shuai Zhang. Gonna have Kontaveit winning. I can already pretty much just advance these two because I want them to play because it's fun. They're friends. Kontaveit took Jabeur's spot away in the WTA finals, which was good because Kontaveit had a great run there. But yeah, I'm setting that up. Sorry, Asher Sharma, but you're not beating Ons Jabeur. Should be a fun matchup, though. I think Kvitova gets herself back together here against Aranska Rus before losing to Jabeur. I think Kvitova could very easily beat Jabeur, but I want to see the Kontaveit Jabeur match. So that's what's happening there. Quali's 1 and 2. Just take the quali 1. Not much we can do about that right now since we don't know. Moving on to the bottom, we have another quali, so I'm just going to advance quali 4. This is a fun draw down here. We have Paula Badosa, Jelena Ostapenko in match 1. Badosa, I think she carries over a strong performance from last year. I know she did lose to Vika Azarenka, but I did like Azarenka to beat her in that match. Kind of a good spot for Azarenka there to catch Badosa. But I think Badosa should be fine this year. She was great last year, and so I look for her to have a similar successful season. Ayla Tamianovic, I'll have her beating the quali. I mean, we don't know who the quali is, but there's that. Bencic against Krejcikova. I've never been a fan of Barbora Krejcikova. I love her in doubles. I love her in Siniakova in doubles. I just don't know. I just bet against Krejcikova a lot, and I like Bencic to beat her. Interesting kind of upset there. It's a tough round 1 matchup for Krejcikova to draw Bencic, and I think Bencic knocks her out. It's Krejcikova's first matches. It's Bencic's first matches. So it'll be interesting how they both look on their first matches. But I like Bencic to get through Krejcikova there. Katarina Siniakova, what am I saying? I was thinking of Krejcikova. Okay. Sofia Kenin against Dasha Kazakina. I like Kenin. Kenin showed me some stuff this week. She hasn't played in forever, but she did show me some good stuff. And even against Ash Barty, okay, she lost 6-3, 6-4 straight set. It's pretty routine straight set loss there to Ash Barty, but she never gave up. She didn't get too frustrated against Barty. Played a decent matchup. It was quick. It only took an hour, but I was happy with what I saw from Kenin in her return. So I'm going to take her to beat Dasha Kazakina, one of the more consistent, like, okay, I'm going to get to where I should get and then lose. But I think she gets knocked out here. Mertens withdrew from her last tournament, which kind of screwed up everything. When we do the recap, it screwed up everything, because I'm not going back in and editing these brackets. They're just what they are when I make them. But Elise Mertens, I think, gets through, though I'm not entirely sure. It sets up Katarina Alexandrova against Elena Rubachina here in the bottom. I like Alexandrova to make it through. I think Rubachina will be a little bit tired from her long stay in Adelaide. Faces Ash Barty tonight. That'll be a tough matchup for her, and I think Alexandrova gets the best of her just based simply off of that. I think probably Rubachina is the better player than Alexandrova, but I think Alexandrova will get the best of her just based on the situational of it all. Sets up Garbine Mugaruza in her very first matchup of the year against Alexandrova. I like Mugaruza to get through and set up a very fun matchup against maybe the tour's most consistent top 20 player in Elise Mertens against Sofia Kenin. I just don't know the health of Elise Mertens. It makes it tough because if I knew her health, probably would just take Elise Mertens to win, but I don't know what exactly her issue was. So we're just going to take Sofia Kenin to go through to face Garbine Mugaruza, which sets her up with another top 2 seed like she did against Ash Barty. Moving on, I have Bencic beating the qualifier. Not much I need to say there, which sets up a really fun matchup of Paula Badosa against Belinda Bencic in the round of, round of 8, the quarters. Sets up a really fun, kind of high-profile matchup here in the bottom half of the Sydney draw. And then, like I said, I already had Kontaveit and Jabeur. Jabeur against Kvitova. It should be a fun matchup. I hope Kvitova looks better than she did against Priscilla Hun. Kvitova didn't play terrible necessarily. It's not like she gifted a bunch away, but she just wasn't great against Priscilla Hun, and Han played really well. And so that's what happened. Moving up to the top, we'll get this final quarter done. Ash Barty is going to beat Christian, not even a question. And then I'm going to have Pegula refinding some of her form and upsetting Swiatek. I just don't think that Pegula we saw have a, maybe her worst match in years. I don't think she shows up again here in Sydney. I think she plays much better, refocused, and she sets up a date against Ash Barty in the quarters. So Barty, Pegula. Unfortunately, the issue is I think Ash Barty is so much better than everyone not named Naomi Osaka on hardcourt. Well, just in general. I mean, Osaka on hardcourt is a different beast than Osaka anywhere else. I'm not picking Osaka to do a whole lot on grass or clay. But my point is I think Barty is just so much better than everybody else, so it's hard for me to ever not pick Barty to win. But, it sets up Barty, and I'm going to have Anett Kontaveit. It's a great spot for Jabeur narratively to beat Kontaveit. It will just mean so much more to Ons Jabeur than it will to Kontaveit to win this particular matchup at Sydney. I just think Kontaveit is way better than Jabeur, so I'm going to have Kontaveit taking her out, setting up Kontaveit Barty, which is fun. It's one of those matchups I don't believe we saw last year. The red-hot Anett Kontaveit, I don't think she ever played Ash Barty. Did she ever play Ash Barty last year? No, she never played Ash Barty. Yeah, she never played Ash Barty yet last year. She played, all the big names, beat all the big names, but she didn't beat, because she never played Ash Barty, which is fun. This thing is so ridiculous from right here, this point on Cleveland, all the way to the end. It's so ridiculous. She had that withdrawal in Chicago, which kind of blemishes it a little bit. She lost to Ons Jabeur at Indian Wells, which Jabeur, I believe, thought that wrapped it up for her to make the WTA finals, and then Kontaveit ran off Moscow and Club Napoca to get to the Guadalajara finals. And then I think she was just exhausted. She just ran out of steam against Mugaruza. Is what I think happened, in my opinion. But it sets up Kontaveit to Barty, something we didn't get to see last year. Badosa and Bencic is fun. I think Bencic will play a lot more this year. She just hasn't played a lot the last 2 years. How many matches did she play last year? She only played... Well, if we subtract the Billie Jean Cup ones, because I don't really count those, and we subtract the Olympics... So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So if you subtract the 9 matches she played off of there, she didn't play a ton. And she made a lot of deep runs, which is what I enjoyed about it. The final ending to the season was not great, but overall throughout the middle of the season, she made those decent runs. I really want to take Bencic to beat Badosa here, and I think I will. Knocking out. I think Bencic is poised for a big year. I thought Andreescu would be, but Andreescu, once again, is having her injury problems. She's not here. But I like Bencic to have a big year this year. It's kind of like not a turning point year for her because she's not really that old, but she's going to turn 25 this year, which is not getting old, but it's getting older. I think she needs to start progressing back into the top 10, and I think she'll get there this year. I don't know if she'll win like a slam or finish crazily high in a slam or anything like that, but I think she found a good find of form last year. She just didn't probably play enough that she needed to get to like the WTA finals and stuff like that. So, but long story short, I think this year going to be a good one for Bencic. I'm just not quite sure what to make of Kenin still yet. I liked what I saw, but that was one tournament, a micro size at one tournament, and then she got knocked out by Barty in straight sets. So I'm going to take Muguruza. Yeah, I think Garbine gets it done here and sets up Bencic, Muguruza, and Kontaveit, Barty. So I could go with what I would like to see happen, which is Kontaveit and Bencic to win. I'm going to pick Barty almost every tournament she's in. It feels lazy, but I just think Barty is just so much better than everybody else. And especially in Australia, I think she'll be focused and driven to play. I think Kontaveit, though, a little bit fresher. If I'm going to pick Barty to lose, this will be the time. Barty looking a little bit ahead to Australia, the Australian Open, and she'll dip out of here a little bit early, get a little extra rest before the Australian Open, where, newsflash, I think I probably will have her at least making the semis at worst, probably. If she's in Osaka's draw, it gets a little interesting, but bottom, I'm going to have Bencic upset Muguruza as well. I'm going to set up the matchup I want, which is Anett Kontaveit to face Belinda Bencic in the finals. I like Muguruza, but I also watch Muguruza sometimes, and I just don't love what I see half the time. And so I'm going to have Bencic upset Muguruza and move on to the finals of Sydney to face Kontaveit. And Kontaveit going to start off this year the way she started off last year, or the way she finished off last year. She's going to cruise to the finals and win it against Belinda Bencic. Yeah, I'm gonna go out on a little bit of a limb and have Kontaveit stay hot. Sometimes when you're the hottest player in the world, taking a break to end the season is not the greatest, but yeah, I think Kontaveit comes back. I like her game. I love her serve. She's great on serve, and so I think she gets through all the way. It's a tough road for her. The beginning here is easy. I like the beginning for her because it gives her a nice feel to get back in her groove against Zhang, who she shouldn't lose to, and then Quali. This should be a nice tune-up for Kontaveit before she plays Jabeur, and it's a good spot to catch Jabeur off of playing Petra Kvitova. I think Kvitova will be much better. Probably a three-setter here between her and Jabeur. If she loses to a rankster Russ, then I don't know. We might have to throw in the towel on Petra Kvitova. And then it's not a great spot against Barty because she'll be coming off the tough match against Jabeur. I don't think Barty will have a problem with Pegula. She just dispatched Swiatek pretty easily from... I mean, it wasn't... The score, it was a little bit tighter than the score suggests, but Barty still dispatched her in fairly easy fashion. But I just think there's something magical about Kontaveit. I don't know. Something special about it. Till she starts struggling, I don't know. I like Kontaveit. So yeah, that's WTA Sydney. That's the 500 event. So that's going to do it for this. I will scour the lines tomorrow and try to release maybe at least a couple plays from Sydney and Adelaide, as well as I will have Adelaide 1 and the Somersets reviewed tomorrow, see how we did and how those tournaments wrapped up. Does Halep get her first win since Rome 2020? Barty raise a trophy in Australia? Does Amanda Anisimova complete the magical run that I kind of predicted from her? Very proud of myself for calling the Anisimova, but we'll go over all of that tomorrow. And I will see you guys then. Peace.